suddenly, at going an extremely high rate, the man's truck hit me head on and took the top off of the car, broke the seat that I was in, ran over my body. I was badly injured. My head was cut open and I was bleeding profusely all over, internally and externally. And I left my body. My primary feeling was, oh my God, I'm free. Thank God I'm free. The ecstasy, the bliss of it was just incredible. The sense of freedom was amazing. And I had the distinct awareness that I had been trapped in my physical body. I know what death really is now. It's the great escape from the illusion of the physical body, the physical world.
We are here with the near-death experiencer, Ann Archer. She is part of the board of directors of Spiritual Awakenings International. Hi, Ann. How are you?
Hi, AJ. I'm great. The day I had my near-death experience, it was quite a shock to me. I'd had a lot of other spiritual experiences, but I was not expecting this. My daughter and I were traveling at night, and she had been visiting with someone and had a big duffel bag of her clothes in front of her. And she was asleep in the front seat. Back then, we didn't have seat belts and we didn't use them. And she's in the front seat. So it's many years ago. And all of a sudden, I saw headlights coming toward me, but they veered off the road. And the next thing I knew, the person who had run off the road started to come back across the road, and suddenly his headlights were coming right at me. I pulled over as far as I could, but there was a ravine on the side of the road and I couldn't pull over any further. And suddenly, at going an extremely high rate, the man's truck hit me head on and took the top off of the car, broke the seat that I was in, ran over my body, and my daughter was propelled straight into that duffel bag of clothes. So she was completely protected. One little piece of glass went into her spine, and they were able to extricate it later in the hospital perfectly. But I was badly injured. My head was cut open. My head was cut open from here down to my ear, and my ear was dangling off, and I was bleeding profusely all over, internally and externally, and I left my body. Now, this near-death experience, it taught me many things, but one was there was absolutely no pain or awareness of pain from that incident. You would have thought that it was extremely painful if you'd seen my body, but it wasn't. I popped out of my body. I went into the trees. I'm having both a near-death experience and really an out-of-body experience, because I don't even go into the heavenly worlds. I fly into the light, but it's just, let's say, above the trees. And I'm blissfully floating around, flying through the air, landing in the trees, and watching the scene, thinking, wow, what happened? But my primary feeling was, oh my God, I'm free. Thank God I'm free. The ecstasy, the bliss of it was just incredible. The sense of freedom was amazing. And I had the distinct awareness that I had been, let's say, more or less trapped in my physical body, that maybe of my own volition, I had agreed to come into this lifetime and I had agreed to go in that body, but it becomes like a cage. It becomes, we forget who we really are as soul. We forget that we're free. And suddenly I knew I was free, and I was so excited to be able to fly and soar again. And I thought that I could stay out of that body, especially looking down at it. I could see that it was a mangled mess. And yet then I saw the little body of my daughter coming out of the duffel bag, and looking over toward me, she said, Mommy, you bleed. And I thought, oh my gosh, I have to go back. I can't leave her there like that. Now, someone came along and spoke to her. The car that was behind us stopped, and it was a lovely woman who was an elementary school teacher speaking to my daughter. I later discovered who she was, and it was just how precious, how sweetly she handled my daughter, because, of course, I am, as far as anyone is concerned, I'm dead, even though I'm watching the scene from above. And I certainly don't want to have to get back in that body. But I see a vehicle come that's an ambulance, and I think they're going to take my body out, but they don't. They take out the drunk driver. That's who had hit me, a drunk driver and a big truck. And they put him in the ambulance, and the ambulance leaves with sirens blaring. They take him away. And I thought, why didn't they take my body away? And I realized, oh, they think I'm dead. And then I had this weird feeling, oh, wait a minute. What if I am dead? And I see now they've called a hearse. This big rounded top vehicle arrives, and it's to take me to the morgue, not to the hospital. And I see these men approaching, and they have a blowtorch, and they intend to just burn around the mangled metal of the car and get me out of the vehicle without regard for the body, because it's dead. And what I had been floating around, I guess they checked for vital signs, and I was dead. So I looked at the body and thought, okay, I know what I have to do. I have to get in there. And it's like high diving, on a really high board above a pool that's really far down, or a big lake that you want to jump into. And it's like, oh gosh, I got to get in there and really dive. So I took this nose dive as soul, as this free spiritual being, into the body, but I couldn't stay. I popped right out like that. It was too painful, too awful. I couldn't stay there. And I have to go, okay, I got to do this again. And I dive into that body. And this time I'm able to stay. And I hear a man speaking to me. He's the head of this team that's trying to extricate my body. And he said, honey, if there's any life left in you, you got to give us a sign. And he's holding back the guy with the blowtorch. And my pinky finger was sticking up. And I wiggled my pinky finger. And suddenly he sees it. And he said, oh my God, she's alive in there. And I'm out of my body again, but they've seen enough life that they turn off the blowtorch, and instead they use an instrument called the jaws of life and try to extricate me. And, I got back in my body eventually. They were able to rescue and save me. And it was a magnificent experience that taught me both the freedom that we have as soul and what our true identity is, and it taught me that we also have responsibilities. We've come here for a reason. We have things we need to achieve. And I knew that I had to come back. I knew that it wasn't my time. And that though I know the freedom, I know what death really is now. It's the great escape from the illusion of the physical body, the physical world. And I felt greatly blessed to have that experience. But I came back, and I was delighted to be able to be with my daughter again. It took me a long time to heal, but as you see today, I'm perfectly fine and all went well. And, that to me is what the result of a near-death experience can really be about, to teach us both the reality of what life is. It is an illusionary existence, and the freedom that awaits us on the other side. Thank you, AJ. I really appreciate being on your show. I always love being here. Thanks for the wonderful work you're doing.
Bye.
Bye.
This has been the AJ Parr Spiritual Journalist Podcast. Please like, share, and subscribe.